Hello, everyone, and many thanks for joining this stream, for your time and attention. Today is 26th of September, Friday. Thanks God, so I can have a little easy day, and all of us, hopefully. So yes, it is Friday. So happy. I wish you a happy day, dear friends, and a great upcoming weekend, of course. As always, I have prepared quite a number of news on some major developments that Russian media and public is paying attention to. And first, I will go with the news segment, and then, as I always do, I will join community chat for a little while. Dear friends, if you want to discuss any particular topic during this question time, please use capital letters in your question or commentary so that I will spot it easier. And also, you can use a super chat feature on my Rumble channel. I'm streaming on both channels simultaneously on YouTube and Rumble, so you can use super chat feature on Rumble or Rant, as it's called there, to make sure that I will spot your question for sure. That's been said, dear friends. In case you want to donate to this project, support my work, you can do it through PayPal or Boosty platforms, or dear friends, you can subscribe to my Patreon page. Of course, that will be also great support. Day when our community doubles on Patreon, probably I will feel that I did succeed in something because this project at that point probably will be in a safe place. So yes, it is tremendously important to do as good job as I possibly can. So more members of community will decide to support me through Patreon subscription, where monthly subscription starts from $5, and then it's up to each member level that member will choose for support. That's been said, dear friends. All the links are on this video description box and in the pinned comment. And before I start new segment, also let me give you answer to some of the members at least that still are asking me about the schedule. As you noticed, dear friends, this week I made quite significant changes in the programming. What's happening is that from Monday to Thursday I will have two news updates, dear friends. First update will be in the first half of the day, pre-recorded news update, pre-recorded video, and the second news update will be during the live stream late evening at 10 p.m. Moscow time. That was the case this week, and I will continue this way. On Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I will have one live stream. Today it's 12 o'clock, or maybe it will stay at 12, or if any changes in the timing, of course, I will let you know in an announcement. And so yes, hopefully these changes in the programming will do better for a project to further develop and reach wider audience. So that's it. I mean, I did explain this situation a couple of times, but nevertheless there were questions and I will explain it again. That's been said, let's go through some news now. Let's go through some news. And dear friends, in case you have not watched my yesterday's live stream, please check that live stream because I think it was a good one, really. I'm quite self-critical, but nevertheless, I think yesterday I did manage to formulate my thoughts about certain processes, well enough, despite my poor English. And I also published short video, one short clip from yesterday's update this morning early. So you can check that video if you want to. And okay, enough for the intro. Let's go through some news now. And well, I will start with this report from TASS News Agency, which is based on Defense Ministry's latest update. And report is that over the past night, air defense systems on duty intercepted 55 drones that was launched by Kiev regime with assistance of NATO to strike deep into Russian territory. I can give you some specifics on that. 20 drones were intercepted over the Azov Sea. Another 14 drones were neutralized over the Rostov region and the Republic of Crimea. 3 drones were destroyed over the Krasnodar region and 1 each over the Kursk, Belgorod, Voronezh, and Tambov regions. If any additional information on the topic, of course, I will share this additional information on my Telegram or Twitter X pages during the day. Also, dear friends, unfortunately, there was a series of incidents on Russian railway, unfortunately. And RIA Novosti is reporting that in Smolensk region, 18 fuel cars derailed as a result of collision of a truck and a train, freight train. Let me give you some details on that. Today at 7:26 a.m. between the Rudnaya and Golinki stations of the Moscow railway, truck driver drove into a railroad crossing in front of approaching freight train. As a result of their accident, according to preliminary information, the locomotive and 18 gasoline cars derailed, causing the cargo to catch fire. According to Moscow Railway, the locomotive crew was injured, and their engineer engineer and his assistant were hospitalized with their moderate injuries. The Ministry of Internal Affairs told RIA Novosti that the truck drove through a red light, and of course, question is now: was this actually tragic incident, or sabotage or terrorist operation orchestrated by the Kiev regime? Investigators, of course, will let us know. I think in relatively short time. There is a high probability, I think, that this was an intentional sabotage or terrorist attack on Russian railway. But nevertheless, let's wait for investigators what they will say. And unfortunately, this was not the only incident on Russian railway. This morning, I also reported on my Telegram and Twitter X pages this information that I saw on several sources, that a section of the railway was blown up in the Pskov region. The governor reported about it. According to him, this happened around 5 a.m. near the Plusa station. No casualties, sir. There was no derailment of the train. Emergency services are working at the scene. And the governor also asked people, please remain calm. Okay. So, two accidents on Russian railway. In one case, there was serious injuries that a crew of the locomotive suffered, and damage too. 18 cars were derailed with the fuel. They caught fire. I did share some videos of that on my Telegram and Twitter X pages. And in other case, in the Pskov region, there was explosion. So clearly this was a deliberate attack, terrorist attack on railway. Unfortunately, Western elites and their proxy regime is more and more often uses terror methods, basically, to attack Russian Federation. And I'm afraid until Russia will force Western elites to capitulate, situation will remain difficult in this regard. Also, TASS news agency is reporting that Russian troops entered Atradnaya settlement. Let me give you some details on that too. So, Russian troops have penetrated 3 kilometers of the Ukrainian Armed Forces defense at the junction of Belgorod and the Kharkov regions and entered the village of Atradnaya. Military expert Andrei Marochko told the TASS news agency. So I will say significant local scale progress as a result of Russian offensive. And also Marochko reported that Russian armed forces neutralized more than 100 enemy soldiers in the Svatovo-Kremenskaya area. Over the past 24 hours, Ukrainian armed forces lost approximately 100 soldiers and 5 pieces of military equipment near the populated areas in the Svatovo-Kremenskaya sector as a result of airstrikes and artillery strikes by the Russian armed forces. Military expert Andrei Marochko told the TASS news agency. So, progress of the Russian armed forces is constant, literally daily occurrence, and you know, dear friends, veterans of our community know, almost every single day in my updates, I'm reporting about more and more settlements being liberated by Russian forces on the line of contact. RIA Novosti is also reporting that in the Kharkov region, most of the Ukrainian armed forces soldiers surrounded in the forest were neutralized. So Russian forces have eliminated more than half of the Ukrainian armed forces personnel encircled in a Sinelnikova forest in the Kharkov region. Security forces told RIA Novosti units of the 57th Separate Motorized Infantry Brigade and the 127 Heavy Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces remain encircled in their Sinelnikova forest. Since their encirclement, more than half of the enemy personnel holding positions in the forest have been killed, the agency source said. And well, this is the friends, western part of Volchansk, where this forest is located. And I believe a couple of days ago, I reported about encirclement of a significant group of enemy forces in that forest and about beginning of the clearing operation. And as a result of this clearing operation, enemy suffered their heavy losses. At least half of its military personnel is being neutralized there, and I guess wounded is also in high numbers. RIA Novosti is also reporting that Ministry of Defense reported on the successes of the Russian armed forces in 2025. You know, dear friends, lately Western public figures, politicians, including US President Donald Trump, love to talk about how ineffective Russian special military operation is, that despite all their bombing campaigns and long-range strikes and so on, no progress has been achieved on the ground. And unfortunately, Western public that only receives information from Western MSM believes in this nonsense. And well, therefore, yesterday, and I did share this information during the live stream, and I think it's worth to repeat, just in case new members are watching this live stream, new members that before now only received information from Western MSM. Now, I will share this information that Russian militaries have liberated their 205 settlements in a northern military in the zone of special military operation, basically, this year alone. Unfortunately, mechanical translation is not always good, but that's what this report is about. So 205 settlements were liberated, according to Defense Ministry, already since the beginning of this year. Units of the Russian armed forces, through decisive actions between January 1st and September 25th, liberated more than 4,714 square kilometers, almost 5,000 square kilometers, by the way. Is it nothing? Is it really nothing? I mean, maybe I don't understand something, but Western so-called elites, Western media love to talk about, stalemate and how nothing is happening on a line of contact, no movement. What about this 4,700 square kilometers? Just this year alone. I can give you more specifics on that. According to Defense Ministry, 3,300 square kilometers were liberated in DPR, Donetsk People's Republic, 205 square kilometers in LPR, and LPR, by the way, is almost completely free of enemy forces. Just some DRGs are operating still in some areas, but no settlement is controlled by enemy forces. In Zaporozhye region, over 260 square kilometers were liberated there, more than 500 square kilometers in the Kharkov region, and more than 200 square kilometers in the Sumy region. And lately, as you know, dear friends, from my reports and reports of other channels in alternative media, Russian forces began offensive operations in Dnipropetrovsk region too, and already 175 square kilometers have been liberated there, or about a dozen settlements. As Chief of General Staff of the Russian Armed Forces, Valery Gerasimov reported in the late August, Russian troops control some 99.7% of the LPR, and as I said, no settlement is controlled by Kyiv regime. Their forces just are, or DRGs mainly, are just running around some forestry areas. 79% of territory is liberated in the DPR, Donetsk People's Republic, 74% in the Zaporozhye region, 76% in the Kherson region. According to Gerasimov, the army continues to its relentless offensive along virtually the entire line of contact. So I think this is important information, especially for those that yet again don't really watches or pays attention to alternative media and only takes information from Western MSM. Those people are going to be shocked to hear that, I mean, 205 settlements were liberated this year alone. Yes. Yes, by the way, more actually, right? Because Defense Ministry of Russian Federation is extremely conservative institution, by the way, and quite often it takes days before Defense Ministry acknowledges progress of the Russian armed forces in this or that direction. Also interesting news, dear friends, that coming from President of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, who stated yesterday, while visiting Russia, by the way, that Oreshnik missile systems already are on the way to Belarus. Earlier, decision was made by Moscow and Minsk that Russian Oreshnik systems will be deployed to Belarus. And we also know that based on a decision of two presidents, Russia and Belarus, Russia deployed tactical nuclear weapons on the territory of Belarus, and now Oreshniks are underway or maybe already there. Because of course actual movement of these weapon systems is a classified stuff and cannot be said precisely, you know, where they are, you know, and what they do, right? So if Lukashenko is saying that these Oreshniks are underway, most likely they already are in Belarus. And dear friends, before I continue, let me once again, for potential new members, highlight that this media project is completely subscriber funded. And if you like my work, if you want to help me maintain this project, you can support through several means. You can donate through PayPal platform or Boosty platform. You can subscribe to my Patreon page. That will be great support, of course. You can subscribe to my Boosty page in case you don't really like Patreon that much or something. I publish some extra content on both pages of mine, on Patreon and Boosty. Also, during the live stream, you can use the super chat or rant feature on Rumble, where my channel is monetized, to donate and also to highlight any topic you want. And you can become a premium subscriber there on Rumble. Links are on this video in description box and in the pinned comment. And many thanks to everyone who already helped and continues to support. Thank you very much. And that's been said, dear friends, let's continue with some more news. Well, next is Denmark. In Denmark, dear friends, Aalborg Airport was again closed at the nighttime due to drone threats, according to the local TV channel TV2. Later, no traces of drones were found, allegedly, according to local police, and airport began working in ordinary schedule. Topic is relevant because last several days, clearly some yet another false flag operation is being conducted by Russian enemies. In this particular case, on the territory of Denmark, and even though officially Danish side did not provide any evidences that these drones that they talk about belongs to Russia or Russia has any involvement in it, Danish public figures with their statements, with their hints, Danish so-called media and Western media in general, of course, are trying hard to paint a picture that somehow all this situation is related to Russia, which is yet again false flag operation of Russian enemies. That is NATO, by the way, and cannot be trusted, obviously. And just in case, Russian embassy in Denmark made a statement about this situation. And let me give you details on that. So incidents involving disruptions of the airport operations in Denmark are staged provocations, and the Russian side categorically rejects any absurd speculations about its involvement. Russian embassy in Copenhagen has stated, and that's it. That's the Russia's position. Embassy did not use terminology like false flag, but basically that's what it is, right? It's something that is done to further demonize Russia, to use then to further escalate with Russia, and Russia has nothing to do with it. It's all on NATO. And when it comes to Western provocations against Russia, dear friends, and unfortunately we are on daily basis witnessing more and more escalatory steps. And unfortunately, as I spoke in yesterday's update, yesterday's live stream, and also in previous ones, I'm afraid the next phase of escalation is inevitable at this point, and the ground is being prepared literally on daily basis. And we have these reports now that German Chancellor Friedrich Merz has called on EU countries to use frozen Russian assets to issue a loan to Ukraine amounting to 140 billion euros. So they want to steal all of it, right? All of it, what they have frozen from Russian assets in a European jurisdiction or in Brussels jurisdiction. In this column, in his column for the Financial Times, Merz also stated that the loan should be used to finance the purchases of military equipment for a Western-backed terrorist regime of Zelensky. And if you think, well, it does not really matter what Merz has to say, it's not up to him. Well, we have this report on the matter, dear friends, that the European Commission proposes using Russian assets for a loan to Ukraine. So European Commission basically is repeating what Merz has said, right? They are acting with coordination, isn't it? They are acting with coordination. So when I say we have enough indicators to say that unfortunately, next phase of escalation against Russia by the West, by NATO, is inevitable at this point. I actually mean that because there is just too many these freaking indicators that this next phase of escalation is being prepared, and because Western elites, globalist controlled regimes all over the Europe have no reverse gear, they will go ahead with that escalation, I'm afraid. But let me give you some details on this particular report. The European Commission may use Russian assets to provide here with a 140 billion loan. Politico reports the European Commission has proposed using sanctioned Russian money to finance a new 140 billion euro loan to Ukraine. Newspaper reports citing an European Commission document. According to the publication, this proposal was conveyed to EU member states ahead of today's meeting of ambassadors. So when Merz, German Chancellor, stated that, let's steal 140 billion euros of frozen Russian assets and use it to finance this proxy war that we are waging against Russia, he knew what he was talking about. Decision about it most likely already been made, and topic was discussed on highest possible level. No surprises there, dear friends. I have said many times before that they're not gonna give these frozen Russian assets to Russia, right? They will steal it one way or another, but they will steal it completely, and that's exactly what is going to happen. I will just remind you, dear friends, that there is a 300 plus billion Western investments into Russian Federation, and once Western side, once Western elites will finalize stealing of the Russian assets, I think Moscow will take some countermeasures and confiscate or nationalize Western assets inside the Russian Federation in jurisdiction of Moscow, and that will be just step, I think, right? Also, some other topics, dear friends. Donald Trump, as you know, yesterday had a meeting with Turkish President Erdogan, with number of some other officials, but with Turkish President Erdogan too. And after the meeting, he was speaking to a journalist, and he made a claim that Turkey is ready to stop purchasing Russian oil. I can give you some short video on that. He did not say that decision has been made by Turkey to stop purchasing Russian oil, but he hinted on that. Um, no, let's see. Let's see how Ankara will act. I don't think they are in a position. I don't think Turkey is in a position to destroy relationships with Russia. I mean, Turkish economy will suffer tremendously, and the Turkish economy is already in bad, very bad condition, right? But and it's not just oil that Turkey buys from Russia; it's a lot of other goods, right? Economical cooperation between Russia and Turkey is in quite a high level, and we should not forget South Stream pipeline or Turk Stream pipeline, as it also called, that still to nowadays transfers Russian gas, pipeline gas, to European number of European states. And Turkey was openly claiming its ambitions to become a major energy hub. So if Ankara now will agree on the demands from Washington and began cutting economical ties, economical cooperation with Russia, then I guess Ankara's dreams about becoming a sustainable economy and their energy hub to increase its influence in the region, those dreams are finished in that case. But nevertheless, let me give you this short clip of Trump.
Stop buying Russian oil.
I don't want to say that, but if I want him to, he will. Yeah.
But he didn't take that.
Well, I didn't say okay, you stop, but I believe you. I believe he will stop it. Yeah. You know why? Because he can buy from a lot of other people. He can buy from a lot of other people. You know who really can't is Hungary. Hungary's got, they're landlocked, and they don't have a nice ocean where ships can sail in from all over the world. They have one pipeline coming. Because I spoke with, he's a great guy, he's a great friend of mine, but that's a harder one for them. And Slovakia too. They're sort of married to one pipeline. So I just don't want to have people go blaming them when we spoke to them at length today, and it seems like that for them it's a little. But that's not. Turkey has a lot of options. He's a great president, a very smart man, and he's going to take. He's going to do what's right. But we had a very good conversation having to do with the purchase of military equipment, etc.
So to the end, Trump mentioned there military equipment, and this is true. Turkey still to nowadays tries to acquire F-35s because I guess they want some technologies, right, to further enhance their own aerospace industry and to fast track development of their own fifth gen fighter jet that they are working on, right? And we know one of the demands of US, at least earlier, to transfer F-35s was to get rid of S-400 air defense systems that Turkey brought from Russia. And who knows, by the way? I mean, with Erdogan, you never know what might happen. He could agree. He might actually agree with Trump. And
if I want him to, he will.
And even, get rid of S-400 and also began cutting ties with the Russian economy in order to ally itself further with the West. But I have some doubts about it. I really have some doubts about it. I don't think Erdogan will risk that much. We will see. We will see. And also, what is interesting, dear friends, Trump at least mentioned, and by mentioning, demonstrated that he knows that for a number of European countries, including Hungary and Slovakia, Russian energy is crucial, vital, and one might hope that he will stop, and his administration will stop mentioning Hungary and Slovakia every other day, and putting some pressure on Budapest and Bratislava to cut their ties with Russia. Let's see what is going to happen. But yet again, I don't think Washington gonna succeed much in its attempt to destroy remaining ties between Russia and its European trade partners, between Russia and Turkey. Nothing to be said about Russian allies, right? Anyways, let me continue with some other news. And Peter Szijjártó, by the way, foreign minister of Hungary, made strong statements in regards to EU and said that EU failed to fulfill its obligation after Kiev regimes attacked on the Druzhba oil pipeline through which Hungary is receiving its oil, and not just Hungary, by the way. Let me give you some details on that. So, European Union failed to fulfill its obligation to defend Hungary's interests following Ukraine's attack on the Druzhba oil pipeline. Budapest cannot rely on the EU's authorities in this matter. Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó stated this in a conversation with the TASS News agency. And of course, he is correct. Of course, he is correct on point there. But what is also happening, dear friends, is that, something is wrong with Chrome again. And what is also happening, dear friends, is that Ursula von der Leyen, I believe, or someone from Brussels, unofficial, unelected official, made a statement one of these days that Brussels will impose high tariffs on Russian energy, and this will force Hungary and Slovakia to stop cooperating with Russia in the energy field. And this might actually work, because if Brussels will impose 200% tariffs on Russian energy, then Hungary wouldn't be able to buy it. It will just become too expensive, right? Extremely expensive. Same goes for Slovakia and other countries in Europe that are still buying Russian oil or Russian gas or any other goods from Russia, by the way, right? So that's the way, I guess, Brussels will fulfill its promises to Washington that they're gonna completely destroy relationships with the Russian Federation, which will mean, dear friends, further acceleration of the industrialization of European economies, which is actually their task for US administration. That's exactly what they want. Push Brussels towards taking such decisions that will accelerate the industrialization process in Europe, because Washington knows perfectly well companies that will shut down their manufacturing plants in Europe most likely will move their plants to US, right? And process is already underway, and dozens and dozens and dozens of companies already did that. Anyways, let's continue with some more news, dear friends. And of course, one of the main topics of discussion for the last 24 hours is this unexpected some emergency summit that's going to take place in US, Virginia, I believe, state, when about 800 generals and admirals, 3-4-star generals and admirals, by the way, high-ranking military officials, gonna be called simultaneously, right? No one knows what is the purpose of this meeting. Yesterday, I mentioned this report during the live stream, but let me give you some details on that anyways. Pentagon Secretary Pat Hegseth had ordered an urgent meeting of hundreds of senior U.S. military officials in Virginia, the Washington Post reports citing sources. According to the publication, the order applies to almost all officers of the rank of brigadier general and above, including commanders in the conflict zones around the world. People are very worried. They did not understand what this means, one of their newspaper sources said. Another source noted that even commanders located abroad are required to attend their meeting in person. This is not usually done, he emphasized. Excuse me, the meeting will take place next Tuesday at the Marine Corps base in Quantico, near Washington. Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell declined to disclose their agenda. And of course, speculations began straight away about this meeting because of unusual character of it. Never before, Western correspondents with 30-year experience, by the way, in working with the Pentagon, are saying that they never ever have seen anything like that. Nobody's explained what is going on. Speculations are underway. Some are saying that purge will begin in the Pentagon. So Hexet is calling all these generals to basically lash them out, or not all of them, but many of them, right there and then. There are some other speculations that it's not just a purge that is going to happen, but also some top secret matters going to be discussed, so secret that Pentagon does not even trust to share the information to its communication lines that it has. I also think that they're going to discuss something so secretive potentially that they are requiring, and Hexet is requiring those generals to attend this meeting in person. And they might discuss Venezuela, they might discuss Middle East, Iran, by the way. Maybe there is some plans in place to resume military operations against Iran. I said a million times before that globalist allies, Zionists and neocons, are very keen to provoke a regional war in the Middle East on religious and sectarian lines. They have different reasons to be on the same page there, but main goal of the Western ruling class in this case is, in my personal opinion, to cut off China from Middle Eastern energy sources, to shut down navigation in the Persian Gulf. And maybe that's what is going to happen soon after this meeting will take place. Maybe they're going to discuss steps of Pentagon or US militaries during and after the next phase of escalation that globalist and globalist controlled regimes in Europe gonna launch in relatively short time, I'm afraid. Anything can be, any of these scenarios can be true, maybe all of them even, right? We just don't know, and everybody is speculating. I don't think this such a meeting is only related to purge, because why would Hexet call generals to sack them or to lecture them? And he can sack anybody he wants, right? Without even talking to them. So probably something bigger is happening, although I can understand statements of some military experts from America that bureaucracy in the Pentagon is on such a high levels now that definitely some clearing operation is needed there, right? There's too many 4-star generals, by the way. US never had those many 4-star generals, even during the World War II, by the way, or Korean War. And they do now like 10 times more. They do have 10 times more 4-star generals, which is insane. I can understand this argument, but nevertheless, I think reason is much more serious than some purges or clearing operation inside the bureaucracy there in the Pentagon. Also, RT is reporting about this matter. U.S. Secretary of War orders urgent meeting of top generals. Pentagon Chief Pat Hexet has ordered hundreds of U.S. generals and admirals from all around the world to gather in a Marine Corps base in Quantico, Virginia next week in an unprecedented move that has stirred anxiety across the top ranks of the American armed forces. The Pentagon confirmed the meeting but offered no details. The Secretary of the War will be addressing his senior military leaders early next week. Chief spokesman Sean Parnell said on Thursday. President Donald Trump commented on the matter, dear friends, who last month rebranded the Pentagon as a Department of War, downplayed concerns, calling their gathering a friendly get-together, which is a strange thing to say about this recall of 800 generals from all over the world and the admirals. I have a quote here for you from Trump's statements. It's great when generals and the top people want to come to the United States to be with their now called Secretary of War. He told reporters at the White House they are also going to be turning equipment sites, talking about their newest weapons. It's going to be great, he said. Right, so not really much details here, and Trump's commentary is not offering any better understanding of the situation. Clearly, he's trying to with his comments tries to do some deception work there, right? To mislead the people. But yet again, let's see what is going to happen. My personal opinion on the matter is that probably main topic of discussion of these high-ranking officials will be steps that Pentagon will take or not take in the process of next phase of escalation that globalists will launch against Russia in a fairly short time. I think. Let's hope I'm wrong on that. Let's hope there will be no next phase of escalation. But unfortunately, there is just too many indicators that are pointing at the escalation at this point. Anyways, let's continue with some more news, dear friends. And US President Trump also made statements about Middle East. As you know, earlier there was reports in the Western media that Netanyahu, during his visit in US, during this General Assembly of UN, will have a meeting with Trump and will try to gain complete support of Washington to annex West Bank. And Trump was asked directly about it, and I can give you his response on that. Share your take, dear friends, what you think. Do you believe him or not? But he said he would not allow occupation of West Bank to take place. I don't know. We will see. But let me give you a short video of him commenting on the matter.
This week that you would not allow Israel to annex the West Bank. Is that something that you?
I will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank. No, I will not allow it. It's not going to happen.
Did you speak with Netanyahu about this directly?
Yeah, but I'm not going to allow it. Whether I spoke to him or not, I did. But I'm not allowing Israel to annex the West Bank. There's been enough. It's time to stop now, okay?
So I don't know, dear friends. You share your take. I think, and I shared my opinion quite a few times before. I think Trump is compromised, and many individuals in his inner circle and in U.S. political class in general, I think they are compromised. And first of all, by Israel, Israeli secret services, or Israeli lobby, right? And therefore, in relationships between Trump and Netanyahu, I don't think Trump is in a stronger position. It's the other way around, probably, right? Of course, I cannot know for sure, but that's my opinion on the matter. And therefore, I'm not sure he means anything from what he has said there, that he will not allow Israel to occupy West Bank. I don't think he means anything that he said there. Yet again, share your take, dear friends, what you think. But well, that's my understanding of the situation. If he will actually manage to stop Netanyahu, that would be great step, of course, right? That will save lives of tens of thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands of innocent people in Palestine. But is he in a position to actually deter Netanyahu? I don't think so. We will find out. But on the matter of Middle East, dear friends, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov yesterday made a speech on the General Assembly of UN, and during his speech, he stated that Gaza death toll could be as high as 650,000 people, or 10 times more, as he said, 10 times more than official numbers that are coming from Gaza Health or Palestinian health authorities. Let me give you a short clip of Lavrov's statements to dear friends. It's absolutely shocking number, of course. Official estimates of the Palestinian health authorities are shocking and devastating, but Lavrov said that actual death toll could be 10 times higher, which is just I don't know. It's I don't know, man. It's insane, right? It's insane what Israel has done to innocent people there. Let me give you Lavrov's statement. I believe I had a video of Lavrov's statement. Just a sec, dear friends. I knew I had the video, so this is it here. So sorry for this technical nuance. So this is the video.
Of principles enshrined in the UN Charter, taken in full, comprehensively, with due regard how they're interrelated, is a way of laying the groundwork for the progressive development of all states without exception, large and small. Refusing to comply with the Charter's principles is an expression of neocolonial ambitions, leading to the rise of global instability, multiplication of regional conflicts. A key example of this is the Ukraine crisis, which was provoked by the collective West. And we also, of course, know the history of colonialism in Africa, where borders were drawn up arbitrarily without any concern for nationality or confession. And back to Ukraine, NATO and the EU have basically declared war on my country and are partaking it directly.
So, I mean, just this last part, by the way, look at this.
To any concern for nationality or confession. And back to Ukraine, NATO and the
sorry,
EU have
dear
basically
friends. Sorry. This is about, this is wrong video. Goodness me, man. Don't I have a video? My apologies, dear friends. Yes, unfortunately, I don't have a video of his statement, but that's what he said. I'm gonna find this video because I said it, so I will find the video right now, dear friends. It might take a minute, just to confirm that report. That's I find the video, dear friends, so I will share with you this video right now. Because I reported that he said this, right? So I need confirmation of that. You cannot just say something, right? You have to provide the proof. And let me do this, dear friends, because statement is very serious. Statement is obviously very serious. I did not expect casualty numbers to be this tragic. It's tragic already, of course, but I mean, 600,000, more than 600,000. It's clearly genocide. I mean, it's if anyone had any doubts, by the way, I mean, I don't know. It's a genocide. That's what it is. Intentional killing of whole population. So that's the video.
На Ближнем Востоке.
You can see subtitles, dear friends. This video is from RT, so translation is correct.
Беспрецедентная, страшная гуманитарная катастрофа в Газе уже унесла жизни 65 тысяч человек, а некоторые сотрудники ООН, которые выполняют функции на ближневосточном направлении, говорят, что есть оценки, которые свидетельствуют о том, что жертв в 10 раз больше. Ни один.
So what he's saying there is that according to UN personnel that is working on the matter, according to their information, their reports, that actual number of actual death toll, actual number of casualties could be 10 times higher than what officially reported by health services of the Palestine. And official reports are that death toll is about 65,000. So if it's 10 times higher than death toll among Palestinians are over 600,000 people. And if you take in account, dear friends, that majority, literally majority, I believe, of population in Gaza was children, then you can imagine number of children that were killed, kids, by the way, that were killed as a result of these barbaric actions of the Israel. That whole world is witnessing for how long now? So it's shocking. It's absolutely shocking, by the way. And I said many times before, while talking about actions of Israel, that only way this fascist entity that Israelis can be stopped is to war to get together and come up with their actual steps to demilitarize Israel, to denazify Israel. That's what it is. If world will not come together to demilitarize and denazify this fascist entity, by the way, that modern Israel is, they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. They're going to continue this spree of mass killings. And they already are looking at the West Bank, right? They devastated the Gaza Strip. They're going to force her. That's what their plan is, at least. They want to force all survivors out of the Gaza Strip. And then they already are pointing at the West Bank, as I predicted long ago, isn't it? That's exactly what Israel will do. And that's what is happening. Trump might talk as much as he wants that, he will stop Israel from occupying West Bank or to doing in West Bank what they did in Gaza Strip. But why he did not stop Israel from murdering hundreds of thousands of civilians in Gaza? Why he did not use the leverage that US actually has over there, Israel, to stop this genocide? It's a tragedy, by the way. It's unbelievable human tragedy that is happening there. And it's a shame on humanity, on all of us, that we were unable, at least until now, to stop this barbaric fascist entity that modern Israel is. And there are also some reports are in regards to Palestine, your friends. The Economist come up with the article that Tony Blair allegedly might become extra British Prime Minister, might run a post-war Gaza for 5 years. There was a draft plan for a post-war mandate, and could have a UN mandated body called the Gaza International Transitional Authority. Gulf states allegedly are ready to pay, and Trump is seemingly blessing the plan. Yet again, this information is coming from Economist. I mean, Tony Blair is another war criminal, right? Mass murderer. We all remember that it was a Tony Blair, isn't it? That was allied with Bush to go ahead with their assault on Iraq. And as a result of that action, according to many sources, more than 1 million civilian Iraqis were killed. And if UN actually wants a mass murderer to be put in charge of fate of the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, then I don't know, man. US is even more degenerated than I was thinking before. What the hell is wrong with those people, man, in UN, man? I don't know how they can consider mass murderer Tony Blair on any position whatsoever. I don't know. It's insane, man. World is already in a dark place, isn't it, dear friends? world is turning into a freaking hell as time goes by. RT is reporting that Spain and Italy deployed warships to protect the Gaza-bound flotilla. I have reported about decision of Rome and Madrid to send their warships to escort basically this flotilla, humanitarian flotilla that is heading towards the Gaza Strip with humanitarian mission. And I even asked question in my previous updates. I mean, are we gonna see standoff between Israeli Navy and Italian or Spanish Navy vessels? And we got answer today. CNN's propagandist Christiana Mampour, that calls herself a journalist, which is unbelievable, by the way, how she can call herself a journalist. Yesterday, I saw a clip of Christiana Mampour when she was talking to Ursula von der Leyen, and they're actually demanding during the interview to shut down Russian planes, to start basically World War III. And she calls herself a journalist, but that's a whole different story. Amanpour had a conversation with the Spanish Prime Minister, and Spanish Prime Minister said some quite strange stuff there, that these vessels, Spanish Navy vessels, were sent not to defend this flotilla, but to save, to rescue basically people from this flotilla if they will be attacked by Israel. It's just crazy stuff to say, isn't it? But that's what happened there. Let me give you a video of these statements.
A difficult situation building on with the flotilla that's coming towards Gaza. They're trying with humanitarian supplies. Your country, and I believe Italy, is sending military assets to try to protect it against any attack from Israel.
And let's hope not, also to rescue them just in case the Israeli forces attack the flotilla, which, by the way, you know, there are representatives of 45 countries, not only people, members of NGOs, but also politicians, MPs of different national parliaments. So let's hope that they can provide this humanitarian aid, and of course something. I mean, let's hope that doesn't happen anything to these people, and of course we will provide that safeguard just in case they suffered any attack.
I mean, could it become a
confrontation
between you and Israeli forces?
What we will do is just to rescue our, the members of the flotilla, and just to provide that safety.
I mean, this is insane, isn't it? Why they are not sending then, I don't know, swimmers, just swimmers on a civilian yacht to save their people that we will end up in the sea after Israeli attack? Why they are sending warship? Why they are sending warship then? It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, do these people have any self-respect or any respect for their militaries or their nations? What kind of acting is that? Prime Minister of Spain is saying that we are sending warships not to deter Israel from attacking this civilian humanitarian flotilla, but to rescue basically from water people, right? In case Israel attacks. This is crazy, man. I don't know how to comment this stuff. This is insane. This is just freaking insane, man. You know, they are using Navy as I don't know, man, as rescuers on a beach that you see on any beach. It's crazy. It's crazy, by the way, but that's what is happening. That's what is happening, by the way. So if anybody was thinking that that flotilla gonna be, secured by Italian or Spanish warships, no. These vessels are just there to take people out of the sea when Israel attacks them, or something like that. And that's what basically Spanish Prime Minister said openly, right? Let's continue with some more news, dear friends. So also, Also, you might not believe this, but a U.S. Special Envoy and Ambassador to Turkey, Tom Barak, went to talk about Middle East, by the way, and he said some stuff that will, I don't know, man, it will not go down well, not just in the Middle East, but this statement of his will once again question intellectual capabilities of the administration of the U.S., right? I have to give you a video, by the way, better to listen than my explanation of his statement. This is crazy. This is crazy what this individual stated. Let's listen to this.
You know that. There's tribes, there's villages. The nation state was created by the British and the French in 1916, the Sykes-Picot.
Can you imagine? He is saying that nation states in the Middle East were created by British and French. I mean, maybe he is forgetting, has no idea about geography of the Middle East. Did he ever heard anything about Baghdad being the capital of one of the oldest civilizations in this world? Did he ever heard anything about Persian civilization, that is modern Iran? What is he talking about? He thinks that Middle East is only Saudi Arabia or some other Gulf kingdoms that were actually a result of the actions of the British Empire, for example. What this guy is talking about? What the hell is wrong with these individuals, man? I don't know.
Said, okay, we're going to take what was the Ottoman Empire and we're going to draw straight lines around it and we're going to call these nation states. But the Middle East doesn't work that way. It starts with an individual, then family, then village, then tribe, then community, then religion. Lastly, it's what this nation is. So when I say it's an illusion, to think that somehow we're going to get 27 different nations that have 110 different ethnic groups to align with political concepts, what will they align with? Make my life and my children's life better.
It's crazy, by the way. It's crazy. These people are in high-ranking positions, isn't it? Probably he never heard anything about Arab Caliphate. That was running their almost entire known world at the time. Before Ottoman Empire emerged, actually, right? He clearly has no idea about Persian Empire, right? Persian civilization. He has no idea how old Afghanistan is, by the way, and Afghanistani civilization. He has no freaking idea. He thinks, that Middle East is only Saudi Arabia and I don't know, UAE. Those countries might actually say that, yeah, you know what, about these countries can be said that they've been created as a result of actions of the British Empire or involvement of French in some ways, right? When it comes to Middle Eastern borders, in Jordan and some others. But when we're talking about Middle East, we first of all talking about all the civilizations in human history, right? One of the oldest ones. And he's saying that, it's only like 100 years old, right? These nation states. What this guy is talking about, man? Insane. Absolutely insane, man. And so insulting, isn't it, to intellect of the people all over the world. But that's the individuals, by the way. That's the level of individuals that are in high-ranking positions all over the Western world. And then, one might get surprised why there is such a decline in the Western world. That's why. That's why, by the way, because you have people in charge that are freaking morons, right? That have no respect to nobody, absolutely, right? Not to their own communities, not to their own people, and not to anyone else, because they are morons. That's what it is. Corrupt creatures that due to their corruption are capable of anything, and that's the reason why they are in a system at all, because Western systems are corrupt, by the way, right? And will never ever allow decent human being to be part of it. Never. Will not even let decent humans to get closer to this system. That's what it is. Anyways, man, when I saw this video, by the way, I could not believe that he was talking this crap, man. Really. I don't have high expectations about intellectual capabilities of the Western officials, but I mean, this is whole like new level, isn't it? You know, Elad is commenting Afghan civilization and some laughing smiles. Dear friends, you know Georgia? Anything about Georgia? Former Soviet Republic. You know how old Georgia is, or history of Georgia? How many years counts? 3,500 years. And in what is in Georgian history? How many times Afghanistan is mentioned? Because there was times when, due to different circumstances, Georgian fighters were actually on Afghanistani territory, and Afghanistani people are known throughout their existence to be one of the toughest fighters ever, right? So if you don't know, then there is nothing to laugh about there. If you think Afghanistan was only existed like last couple of decades, then this is wrong. We are talking about all the old civilizations, by the way, and Pashtuns are majority of Afghanistani people. Pashtuns are in Iranic-speaking people. They used to be part of Persian Empire. And you think that's laughable stuff? Do you have in the West any civilization older than Iranic-speaking civilizations? Really? Give me one. Give me name of one civilization in the West that is older than Iranic-speaking civilizations. You cannot. Not even Greece and their Roman empires are coming close. So there is nothing to laugh, by the way, right? Nothing to laugh there. Arrogance is not good stuff. Anyways, let's continue with some other news. Let's continue now with some other news. Few more news, dear friends, and well, I want to show you some close-up images, new images that surface on internet of Chinese allegedly, sixth generation stealth fighter jet. According to some Westerners, only they have some technologies and the rest of the world is in the dark, right? But Chinese day in, day out, for example, are demonstrating that this is not true. And Russia does the same, absolutely. Right? And many other countries, by the way, outside of the Western world. And I think, these pictures are clear demonstration of that. For example, these developments in regards to Chinese aerospace industry. This is new images, dear friends. It's interesting design for sure. No classical tail there. Two engine seems like nozzles can go up and down, which will give more agility to this plane. Interesting stuff there, and that's how it looks from other angle. I remind you, dear friends, that US only began working on its sixth gen fighter jets, and all we see in this regard is some AI graphics, right? No actual plane, just some graphic images, some cartoons. While China is actually operating already, testing at least, testing actual planes that are flying, right? And several of them already been designated as to be sixth gen planes. So, well, I mean, significant stuff there for sure, significant stuff. Also, dear friends, let's continue. Other news, a couple of more news for this news segment, and I will join community chatter. This morning, I did publish on my Telegram channel that Trump come up with more tariffs. So starting October 1st, 2025, we will be imposing 100% tariffs on any branded or patented pharmaceutical products unless the company is building their pharmaceutical manufacturing plant in America. Trump wrote on his True Social, is building will be defined as a breaking ground and or under construction. They will therefore be on a tariff on these pharmaceutical products if construction has started. There will be no tariffs if construction is in place, but if those companies are not building nothing in US, then, well, 100% tariffs. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Trump said. And there are some additional information. 25% tariffs will be on heavy trucks not made in US, 50% tariffs on kitchen cabinets and bathroom vanities, and 100% tariffs on pharmaceuticals unless company building factory in America. So I guess some medical stuff gonna get even more expensive in US shortly after 1st of October. I have no freaking idea what Trump is doing, man. What he's doing, really? He's making life more difficult for his own citizens, man. This tariff war on the entire world will not work, man. It could be successful in regards to Western world, right? And it is successful, at least partially, because Washington clearly manages to force closures of manufacturing plants in Europe, while forcing Brussels to implement all sorts of policies that harms Europe and accelerates the industrialization process. So these tariffs might work and do work in regards to Western world, but in regards to the rest of the world, it's more damaging for US than useful. It seems to me, at least, right? But anyways, American people will figure it out shortly, I guess. And I don't think Trump will serve as a president all 3 years that he has left, 3 or something, right? He's going to be removed from office, most likely, with legal means. And before he's being removed from office, he's going to continue to communicate with the rest of the world through his social platform. And another post from him: "Justice in America, one of the worst human beings this country has ever been exposed to is James Comey, the former corrupt head of the FBI. Today he was indicted by the grand jury on 2 felony counts for various illegal and unlawful acts. He has been so bad for our country for so long and is now at the beginning of being held responsible for his crimes against our nation. Make America great again," Trump wrote on his True Social. And yes, Comey was indicted, and he is definitely not a decent human being, right? I'm not sure he's the worst of the worst that US was ever exposed to. Probably there were much worse humans there, and many in dozens, right? But Comey is also not a good human being, for sure. And if he will pay for his crimes, okay, I don't think anyone will have any issue with that, with the exception of Comey and some partisan elements in US from Democrat party, because Comey was basically committing crimes on behalf of these globalist allies in the US, main globalist allies in the US that Democrats are, right? Democrat establishment. Let's be more specific on that. And that's about it, dear friends, for this news segment. Hopefully you did find it informative and useful. interesting, and if so, please like the video, click that like button, and leave some commentary. This might help to deal with the algorithm, extremely aggressive algorithm that YouTube has, and it might help with the algorithm with the on Rumble too, dear friends. Our community on Rumble is increasing little by little, very slowly, but still increasing. And who knows, maybe one day we will reach 5,000 out there, maybe even 10,000. That would be, of course, great. So yes, likes and comments will help, dear friends. There was no super chat during the stream to highlight. Oh, there was a boosty. There was donation on a boosty, dear friends. So I will highlight that donation right now, and the question or the comment if there was one. Anya, my wife, will send me screenshot. Just a minute, and after that, I will join community chat, and let's have a conversation, dear friends, about any topic. Yet again, until I'm online, dear friends, as I am right now, you can use super chat feature to not just support my work, but also to highlight any question or the topic comment. And if you want to support in general, then under this video there are links to all the supporter lines that I have: PayPal, Boosty, Patreon. So just a sec, dear friends, I want to highlight. Is there issues with the communication or? Just a minute, dear friends. I see no screenshot, Anya. Oh. Oh, okay, I will just then answer a couple of questions, and then how what? Okay, already here. So I will highlight, dear friends, now two donations. It's two, isn't it? One donation from Boosty. So let me highlight, dear friends. Thank you very much, Alexander G, for your $10 donation, 806 rubles. And comment from on a Boosty, and comment from Alexander Iser. I have no problem with the Jews in general. It's their Talmudic globalists and their anti-nationalist Bolsheviks I oppose, and their Gentile tiles. The globalist imperialists that want to destroy and loot nations. Thank you very much for this comment, Alexander. And I think most of us are on the same page. None of us have any issues with any religion. It's extreme groups that are causing the issues, right? And in this particular case, that's the globalists, right? And all sorts of extremist forces inside the that are somewhat affiliated with Israel and Judaism, that are causing the issues. But none of us have any issue with the Jewish people themselves. That's why I always say Israelis. I don't use I don't refer to religion of their people. I say Israelis, right? Israelis are committing something, right? And the Israeli regime. So thank you very much for your comment, Alexander G. And let me join community chat now, dear friends. I see the real one, is sending us greetings from Cuba. Hello, real one, and glad to see you. I love Cuba, by the way. I love people of Cuba. I said quite a few times before that my family is truly multinational, multi-ethnic, multicultural, and we can relate ourselves to Cuba. I would not go into details, but I wish all the best to people of Cuba. By the way, hopefully BRICS, emerging multipolar world, and the BRICS will help Cuba to deal with all their obstacles, negativities that the U.S. and the collective West in general is generating for people of Cuba. And I see a comment from Nikos. Nikos is asking Levan, I wanted your thoughts in something I realized yesterday. The US has effectively encircled India by regime changing Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Nepal. How did we miss that? Did they this to India? Well, we did not miss that, Nikos. We did not miss that. We spoke about these matters in our during the conversations, during the question times, and I certainly spoke about these topics, these developments in news segments. Me and Nidish Kumar was discussing developments that recently did happen in Nepal, for example, in Indonesia. There is unrest right now in the Philippines, right, in the last several days. So we have discussed this situation, and well, when it comes to Bangladesh, Nepal, unrest, recent unrest in Indonesia, I think there is probably there is a trace of activity of the CIA there, Western Secret Services. But I think China is learning too. This game that West is playing for so long on a geopolitical scale with their unrests and regime changes and stuff. Well, this game can be played by other sides too, and I think China is learning how to do this stuff, and maybe just a guess, by the way. I'm not pretending to know what is going on in details in Philippines, but who knows? Maybe behind this current unrest in Philippines, can be traced some soft power related to China. And when it comes to encirclement of India, well, this is true. I mean, unfortunately for India, regimes in a number of surrounding countries, from neutral or friendly, did become hostile, if we might use this word, including in Bangladesh, which is not a good thing. But yet again, India never had any reasons to be trustful towards the Western elites, isn't it? I mean, all they need to do is to take a look at their own history, right? Recent history, relatively. I mean, India is one of the oldest civilizations. So when we say Indian history, I mean, last 100 or 200 years is just a drop in the ocean, isn't it? Compared to whole of history. But recent history is enough to understand that New Delhi should never ever be trust elites of the West. And they've been manipulated there, and there is attempts even now, isn't it, to manipulate with India, to play with India's future. And all these attempts are mainly coming from the West that pretends to be friends of India. So, I mean, we didn't really miss this situation. Of course, West wants to have a strong control of India, to use it against China. We understand what's going on there. But is it the interest of India to be a tool in hands of some other forces? Of course not. India is a self-sufficient civilization, by the way, and they don't need no mentors from no side, right? That's how it is. And if you think, well, now India is not as developed as China, for example, well, yes, now maybe, but give it 30, 50 years from now, and India is going to be second economy in this world, bigger than US, right? And second to China. And if statesmen, if politicians have to do something, is to lay down ground for success of their people, of their countries, not just today, but in the long run too, right? And that's what Indian leadership does, I think. They are investing in the future of India. And they know perfectly well if they will work hard, give it 30 to 50 years, by the way, and India is going to be second economy in this world. That's how it is. Let me also scroll, dear friends. I'm looking for capital Qs, dear friends, to also I spotted the question from Nikos. Levan, Smolensk think was definitely sabotage. Ukrainians have targeted the region with the drones multiple times. Is not there is a base? If you mean military bases, well, there are a lot of Russian military bases all over the Russia, right? So Smolensk region is no exception. And I think that railway incident is also, in my opinion, is not an accident, not an tragic accident. It could be intentional terrorist act that was conducted by driver of that vehicle. But let the investigators have their investigation and let them say what it was. Maybe it was an accident, by the way. We just don't know. But time is so tense now that we are inclined to take some actual accidents that happened, unfortunately, time to time, as to be something more, right? So therefore, let's wait what investigators gonna say about it. But I'm on the same page with you. I think on the matter. I think personally that there is a high probability that it was intentional attack on the railway, which is a terrorist act, orchestrated by the Kiev regime. Dear friends, I apologize if I will miss your question unwillingly. I'm just scrolling through chat. On StreamYard, there is a window on the right side where there are all the comments from chats on YouTube and Rumble, and I'm just scrolling there and looking for capital Qs to react, or capital letters. It's great to see that members of community are exchanging opinion, and we have a truly live chat, isn't it? True live chat when people having discussions, which is great, by the way. This is also indicator that this project, tiny but still is success, in my personal opinion, because the communication that I see between members of the community. I see a comment from Gracie Knoll. Tony Blair is the City of London's representative. I mean, he is clearly not the person that has any any positive track record for sure, and he clearly represents some very influential forces. Not and if he is actually appointed in some ways to by UN in the Middle East or in Palestine, then he's not gonna serve no people, but he's gonna serve interests of group that he is working for sure. And when it comes to City of London, well, we are talking about British aristocracy first of all. And what is British aristocracy? It's a leading force in the global among globalists, right? British aristocracy is a leading force among globalists and in that globalist movement. Bald Eagle is also commenting, Levan, all the ingredients for World War III recipe have been put in their pot. We are heading for a global war, unfortunately, and there is a high risk, isn't it, that some tremendous level of escalation is going to happen. My hope is that we will not end up in an actual full-scale war because that will end the humanity. But nevertheless, doomsday clock is never being closer to a doomsday, right? To the midnight. And also, unfortunately, we have no reasons to believe that globally is going to de-escalate anytime soon. Globalists and their allies going to de-escalate anytime soon with Russia. So therefore, situation is terrible for sure. I'm still a little optimistic, little bit that we're not gonna end up in a full-scale war and full-scale nuclear exchange. I think eventually desire to protect themselves will prevail among Western elites, right? Because they are not suicidal, and eventually they will acknowledge objective reality, acknowledge that they lost this proxy war against Russia and will begin de-escalating. But before that, this current trajectory going to be escalatory. Questions, sir. I see a comment from Nidish Kumar. Levant, Trump will make drug smuggling famous by implementing 100% tariffs on medicines. That's one of the potential results that he's going to get. That people will go either in Canada or in Mexico and going to buy drugs in pharmacy. Ordinary drugs, I don't know. Everything, or significant number of drugs, some painkillers and stuff might go up in prices like twice, isn't it? And or more. And therefore, I can see some people are doing business on that. They will go in Mexico, they will go in Canada, buy those drugs, and then resell it in US. Yes, you are on point there, 100%. That's what is going to happen. That's why I'm saying, Trump went too far with these tariff wars. What the hell is he doing? I guess most of medicine in US is coming from India, or significant number of it. And I don't think Indian pharmaceutical company is going to move their manufacturing plants now to US. I really don't think so. And that means some might, but not all. And that means what? drug is gonna go more expensive, isn't it? Gonna double in price. And yes, I mean, some people will begin trafficking those medicines, by the way, from neighboring countries, for sure. You know, it's crazy, isn't it? When people will go into Mexico to buy, I don't know, man, any painkiller like Nurofen or something. It's insane, isn't it? Because Nurofen will cost in Mexico, I don't know, $5, and in US, well, 10 plus, maybe 15, maybe 20. Who knows, man? Because US is all about business and money, isn't it? And their mentality there of people is also about making more and more. And of course, pharmaceutical companies will use opportunity, or pharmacies, to rise the prices as much as they possibly can. And who's going to suffer from that? Ordinary people, isn't it? Also, Nidish is commenting, Levan, now unrest in Ladakh, India as well. Their activists is funded by Rockefeller and Soros. Well, I have read the news that there was unrest in India too, and there are some measures being taken by authorities to calm the situation down. And you are now sharing information that activists were funded by Rockefellers and the Soroses. I mean, that's quite telling, isn't it? I'm not at all surprised that Western forces have a significant presence through their assets in India. I'm not at all surprised by this, but New Delhi have to take some measures. New Delhi have to take some measures to neutralize foreign influence in domestic politics, and this has to be done fast. Otherwise, these foreign forces will not allow India to conduct independent policy in any direction, isn't it? India is a growing market. India is 1.5 billion people. So you can imagine what kind of money we are talking about, isn't it? And all these influential forces would love to have control over this economy, and what this economy is going to become in 20, 30, 50 years from now. So New Delhi has New Delhi has tremendous challenges before itself. Absolutely. Also a question, Ramplancer is asking, is it true that Ukraine is blowing different refinery in Russia every day, and that's outside of Moscow? There are gas shortages. No, it's not. This is two-part question, isn't it? Does Kiev regime conducts attacks on, with assistance of NATO, conducts attacks on Russian refineries and energy infrastructure in general? Yes, this is true. Sometimes they are successful, sometimes not. They are not blowing up refineries every day, because if that was the case, then we would not have no refineries left, right? That's one part. And unfortunately, due to these attacks on Russian refineries, some 10 to, according to different reports, some 10 to 15, up to 20% of refined capabilities of Russia has been influenced, and that's why Russian government made decision to ban exports of the oil products from Russia, gasoline, for example, to the end of the year, to make sure that there is necessary volume of oil products on domestic market. But when it comes to another part of your question, is there gas shortages outside of Moscow? No, this is not true. Saturn In the West, by the way, some videos are circulating when certain gas stations that were managed poorly, they run out of gas. I mean, that means that there is a gas shortages in Russia. No, it does not. That means that that particular refinery or company that has a certain chain of refineries was managed poorly. It did not order volume of necessary volume of gasoline or diesel or whatever upfront, and at some point they just run empty. But same time, by the way, how come that other companies, Rosneft, for example, never runs out of gasoline? Rosneft is gas stations. How come? Maybe because they've been just managed a little better. So no, due to attacks on Russian refineries, of course, that causes a problem, undoubtedly. But is Russia facing some actual incremental issues with their gas shortages? No, it's just Western propaganda. By the way, they will take a small local issue and will try to transfer it to whole Russia, which is crazy to do, isn't it? All these refineries that are Western-backed terrorist regime of Zelensky is targeting are mainly in southern Russia, in central Russia, right? In regions that are more or less closer to Kiev regime, and those refineries were serving those regions primarily in most of cases, right? You don't believe, isn't it, that those refineries were sending fuel into Siberia? No, there are refineries in Siberia that are serving local demand. So, it's a local situations in different parts, right? And yet again, mainly whenever there is some refinery, some gas station is running out of fuel. And yesterday I read about one company. I cannot even remember freaking name of the company. I never heard about this company before, but some company that I guess has several gas stations or something, and those gas stations run out of fuel. And in very same areas, by the way, where those gas stations located are gas stations from Rosneft. And Rosneft gas stations had the fuel. So how come? Maybe because one business was run poorly and another was run better. That's it. Oh, that's a question for $1 million. America has fallen. Is asking Levan, what's your prediction for the rest of the year? Well, I'm afraid before end of this year we will see next phase of escalation. That West will initiate, and if this prediction comes true, then Moscow, I believe, will have no option but to retaliate and retaliate hard, and eventually force globalists and globalist allies to capitulate one way or another, but to capitulate. That's the ultimate outcome of next phase of escalation. If globalists and their assets are dreaming about strategical defeat of Russia or anything like that, I mean, they are just dreaming. It's never going to happen. So ultimate outcome of next phase of escalation is capitulation of Western elites. That's it. If common sense will prevail in the West, among Western leaders, Western so-called elites, and they will refuse to go ahead with the next phase of escalation that they are clearly preparing, then in that case, special military operation will continue, and before end of this year, I think Russian militaries will liberate definitely Kupiansk. Kupiansk will be liberated in next before end of October, I think, in next 2, 3, 4 weeks. I think there is a high possibility, high chances that before end of this year, Seversk will be liberated, all the surrounding settlements, also Yampol and Liman. I think there is every chances that this will happen. We might see liberation of Konstantinovka And when it comes to Pakros Mirnograd direction, it seems to me that Russia is not that focused on those areas right now. It's a Western propaganda that is pushing this narrative that main goal of the Russian troops is to take control over the Pokrovsk and Mirnograd. But in reality, I mean, based on reports from different sectors of the front line, I mean, to me personally, picture is a bit different, and Russian troops will continue, of course, offensives in Pokrovsk Mirnograd direction, and further intensify even offensive operations, but step by step. And they're already achieving progress, by the way. Russian troops are in the central parts of Pokrovsk. I don't know if media in the West is reporting about it, but Russian troops are in the central part of Pokrovsk, right? So this process will continue, right? So maybe before end of this year, Pokrovsk Mirnograd will be liberated also. That's my prediction. Initiative is in Russian hands, and this is not going to change. No matter how much money, how much weapons Western countries are going to send to Kiev control territory, they're not going to turn the tide. It's just not possible. So that's my take on that. Let's see, how good my reading of the big picture is. Let's talk about it towards the end of December. And dear friends, I think I might end the live stream now. I see a question from Nidish Kumar. Levan, how do you think EU will try to outmaneuver Hungary and Slovakia to make them stop Russian energy? Well, I mean, indicators already there. They're gonna impose tariffs on Russian oil. They're gonna impose tariffs on Russian oil, on such a scale that Hungary and Slovakia wouldn't be able to afford no more oil from Russia. That's what Brussels will do, and they are hinting already on such possibility. If Washington, only chance now for Budapest and Bratislava to avoid such a scenario is to use whatever connections they have with Trump's administration to basically make Washington's position a little less strict on the matter, right? So that Brussels will not be forced to completely cut energy supplies from Russia. Otherwise, if Trump will continue and Washington will continue to pressure Brussels, then Brussels will come up with tariffs, 100%, 200%, maybe more tariffs, and their oil from Russia becomes so expensive that Hungary and Slovakia or any other country from Europe just would not be able to buy it. That will be tremendous hit on economies of these countries, but Brussels already demonstrated that they don't care. Brussels officials already demonstrated that they don't care about livelihoods of the ordinary people, or entire economies of the EU member states. They don't care. They have their own agendas and working in the direction of those agendas, no matter how crazy and sick that agenda is. There was a super chat, dear friends, from Scooby. Let me highlight right now. So let me highlight super chat on Rumble from Scooby. Thank you very much, Scooby, for your super chat and $5 donation. Comment or question from Scooby is: in a war, does it not make sense to be the one who takes opportunity to escalate first if an escalation is coming anyways? Yes, it does make sense, Scooby. I will agree with you. It does make sense, and that's why preemptive strikes have been invented, right? Well, I have, I was thinking about this topic. I was thinking, if next phase of escalation is inevitable, will Moscow consider preemptive strikes and probably Moscow considering preemptive strikes, but judging by constant restraint or enormous restraint that Russian leadership was demonstrating until now, I think probably Moscow will not use preemptive strike to deter enemy. I'm afraid Moscow will try diplomatic means to send their messages everywhere possible to deter through political means. Hostile side, globalists and globalist allies, in hope that these messages will work, in hope that they will understand. I mean, enemies of Russia, that response from Russian side gonna be so devastating that globalists will prefer not to go ahead with this next phase of escalation. I think Moscow prioritized that direction. Through political means, through diplomatic means, through other means of communication, make it clear for the globalists, globalist control regimes all over the Western world, that if they will go ahead with next phase of escalation, Russian response truly will be so devastating for them that this reality will force them to de-escalate. That's I think Moscow's approach. I don't think this will work because I mean, it seems like globalists or Western elites in general think that Russia is bluffing. I think they actually believe that Moscow is bluffing and will not escalate or will not retaliate against the West, no matter what Western elites gonna do, and therefore this tactic of Moscow probably will fail. And in that case, there will be Plan B in place, which is retaliatory strikes, and this retaliatory strikes gonna be as devastating for hostiles as Moscow is telling them. I'm quite sure right now, while trying to deter them from escalating. You know, I don't know if I did share my take on the situation well enough, due to my language, poor language, but that's what I think. I'm quite sure preemptive strikes have been considered, must be considered, but based on past practice, I think Moscow will try through diplomatic means, through political means, to deter the enemy from further escalation, while giving them a warning and clear messages that if you do this, then we will do this, and it's going to be devastating for you. So don't even dare to try. Question is, will Western elites believe that Moscow will actually retaliate or not? And I'm afraid they're not going to believe in that. And that means they will go ahead with the next phase of escalation, most likely, and Moscow will have no option but to retaliate and force, basically, globalists and their allies to capitulate. That's what is going to happen. But preemptive strikes, of course, is a thing, right? After all, whole history of Israel is a preemptive strikes, isn't it? They were always justifying their actions with preemptive actions. And dear friends, I think this is it. I think this is it for today's live stream. Almost 2 hours, 1 hour and 55 minutes. Thank you all, dear friends, for your attention and support, for your questions, commentaries, for your super chat and donations. Thanks, Scooby, and thank you, Alexander G. Many thanks to all the members of our community who supported and continues to support to maintain this project. Have a wonderful day. Great upcoming weekend, dear friends, and take care. See you tomorrow.